Welcome to Stochastic's MLB DFS Live Before Lock. I'm your host, Neil Orfield. You can find me on Twitter at PlayerQDFS. I'm here with Adam Scherer. You can find him on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And this show is sponsored by SoRare MLB, which is a digital trading card and NFT-based free-to-play MLB game. We'll talk about SoRare a little bit more later on. While you're coming in, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification button so you can get alerts when our shows go live. If you hear that alarm in the background, I've already told people what it is, Adam, in chat. That is Adam's fire alarm. The battery has decided like 1 minute before we're supposed to start to give out, and his alarm is going off. I told Adam literally every time I've ever had my fire alarm batteries go out and start chirping at me like that, it's been like 3 or 4 a.m. It's like it's always in the middle of the night, always the worst timing. And I think this might be even worse timing than that, Adam.
Yeah, it wasn't great. And now, like, I don't know, everything's thrown off. Like, I'm a creature of habit. I don't like where I'm sitting right now. I don't like anything. It feels bad.
Feels bad, yeah. And the worst part is Adam moved all of his stuff, and it still sounds almost as loud as it did when Adam was directly beneath it. But
yeah, I feel like we could have just stayed in there. And I also left my coffee in there. So
oh shit.
The first time you do an ad read, I'm getting that.
All right. Well, tell you what, why don't we take a look at, I'll take a look at the Sims tool right away if you want to go get your coffee. So let me throw this on the screen. All right. So as you all know, we do have the MLB Sims tool out now. It is available $180 a month. So it's just $6 a day if you're interested in accessing the Sims tool. We've been taking a look at the yesterday's slate. So using the post-contest simulator, of course, there's also a pre-contest simulator. There's nothing else like this in the industry. The pre-contest simulator allows you to upload up to 2,000 lineups and simulate them against each other. So essentially, you're trying to make 2,000 lineups that look like what you think the field is going to do. The simulator will tell you over 40,000 simulations, which of those lineups is going to be plus EV. So very, very powerful pre-contest simulator. Also very, very powerful post-contest simulator, because you can see how lineups were expected to do. So based on actual lineups that were in the contest, so we have actual ownership. We know exactly what the lineups are that were in the contest, how unique different players or combos were. So we have all the data, and you can see how your lineups looked based on the actual contest they were in. And you can see here the best lineup. Oh no, that's the best user. Let me switch to lineups. I want to see. No, let's see. Sim lineup ROI. So the most positive. Ooh, DFIC. Way to go, DFIC. One of our regular users had an expected sim lineup ROI of 313%. Of course, this one did not cash, but a very good lineup made by DFIC with Charlie Morton, Ronald Blanco as the pitchers. Looks like we have a Brewers Braves stack here. Nice lineup there for DFIC. The highest expected ROI on the slate. Of course, expected ROI. We prefer actual ROI, I think, over expected ROI, but it at least it lets you know that you're playing the contest well. You would expect to do well in the long term with that lineup. So kind of a bummer it didn't work out there, but great lineup there for DFIC. But you can just check out all of your lineups. You can check out user ROIs. You can check out individual players. So like the actual baseball players, you can check out their expected ROI, the ROI of various stacks, and of course, the actual DFS lineups, the actual and expected ROI. So very, very powerful tool here, not just for creating great lineups and entering great lineups, but also for checking how you're doing, having that little feedback loop of, okay, how are my lineups doing in general? As powerful a tool as you are going to find in the ever in the industry, Adam. I think I don't know, there's never been anything quite like this. I think it's safe to say it is the most powerful, or one of the most powerful tools in the industry. So check it out if you haven't already. All right, let's jump into it. We do have 4 games to get through, Adam. So let me get back to that. Got to update. Oh, so we had a game postponed. So we are down to just 4 games on this slate. So don't worry, we're going to get through it with plenty of time. I'm not worried about that. Let me pull up what the first game is here. Of course, we've got your Orioles on the slate. We've got a Coors game on the slate. Starting, though, with the Dodgers at the Reds. Clayton Kershaw on the mound for the Dodgers. Graham Ashcraft for the Reds. Any interest in these pitchers, Adam?
Yeah, certainly interest in Kershaw in particular here. Not the worst matchup with the Reds. Not a great park, but decent matchup. 3.7 implied run total. He may not be as good as he was at his peak, but he's still extremely good. 30% K percentage so far this year. 3.03 xFIP. Really, really good pitcher, and looks like on a 4-game slate, one of the best pitching options that we have. Much more difficult to get to Ashcraft. He does have good stuff. He throws hard. Seems like he should get more strikeouts than he does, but so far in his career, he hasn't been very good at getting strikeouts. And then on top of that, of course, you have the very difficult matchup with the Dodgers in a hitter's park, 5.8 implied run total for the Dodgers. So not much interest in Ashcraft outside of, I guess, your caveat that it's a 4-game slate. If you're playing large field tournaments, then maybe you get there. But like, wouldn't be upset if I don't, and certainly not going out of my way to do it. But Kershaw looks very good.
Okay, and as you said, we have a 4-game slate here, so I think this is a good question from Apollo DeKing. Thoughts on playing Kershaw and De La Cruz in the same lineup? What do you think? Would you play De La Cruz against Kershaw in a lineup?
I think it's fine. I am probably not, mostly just because I didn't have it set to do that when I started making lineups, and now I'm running behind and thrown off.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that that's completely reasonable given, one, that it's a 4-game slate, and then 2, that De La Cruz is clearly one of the best plays on the slate. He also has multi-position eligibility now, in addition to still being sub 3K. So it's not like it's a good matchup against Kershaw, but on a 4-gamer, I don't hate that idea.
In general, how, if you were setting up like Fantasy Cruncher, how many bats would you allow against your pitcher on this slate?
I think I don't mind going 1. I think you could also just specifically say 0, except for De La Cruz.
Okay, makes sense.
But I actually do need to change that, so I'm glad that question came up. I had said everything when it was a 5-gamer, and I wasn't going to do it, and then I didn't change.
Yeah, good thinking. All right, we talked about the pitchers. We talked a little bit about De La Cruz, but what about the bats in general in this Dodgers-Reds game?
Yeah, definitely interested in getting to the Dodgers side. Right now, the top stacks tool still is including the Washington game, so the percentages are a little bit off, but we have the Dodgers with a 17% chance of being the top stack, 18% ownership. Both of those numbers probably go up a little bit now that we don't have Washington, Arizona. We had 10% ownership coming into Arizona, 5 to Washington. So you have 15% hitter ownership to spread around. But the Dodgers look like the second best offense on the slate behind the Giants. The Reds, obviously, in a more difficult spot. Kershaw, really, really good. They're not getting much ownership. They shouldn't. The only real argument for them is, it's a 4-game slate. You have a team getting 5% ownership. There is inherent upside there, but the Dodgers are clearly the offense that you're going to want to get to.
Okay, and how would you rank the 4 sides of the game?
Kershaw 1, Dodgers 2, Reds 3, Ashcraft 4.
All right. And we're skipping right past this Arizona-Washington game, which has been postponed, to Twins at Rays. We've got Bailey Ober on the mound for my Twins, Yanni Chirinos for the Rays. Any interest in these pitchers, Adam?
Yeah, Ober is a pretty solid pitcher, not in a good matchup at all, but it's only a 4-game slate, so kind of got to take, what you can. He's third in top 2 pitcher percentage at 25%. Actually, he's going to be second because Merrill Kelly was second. So looking at the other pitching on the slate, it's not great, or it's pitching in cores. So I am interested in Ober despite the tough matchup. 29% projected ownership, 25% chance of being a top 2 pitcher. You're not going to feel good about it, but don't mind getting there. On the other side for Chirinos, only pulling about 8% ownership, 12% chance of being a top 2 pitcher. He is cheap. There are strikeouts in the Minnesota lineup. I don't expect Chirinos to go particularly deep into the game, but with it being a 4-gamer, I don't hate the idea of paying down for him, but I don't think I'll end up doing it that often.
Okay. How about the bats?
He is showing up quite a bit more than 7% in the crunch I'm running. So whatever that's worth.
All right. It's worth something. How much interest do you have in the bats here?
I think Tampa Bay is interesting in tournaments because you are going to get ownership coming into Ober. And again, he is a quality pitcher, but this is also a really good Tampa Bay offense. So it's not, hard to imagine this going poorly for Ober, and you get some leverage against the field. So far this year, he has held lefties to a 149 expected ISO. Righties have hit him better, 234 expected ISO. They are also striking out at a much higher rate, though. So if you're going to Tampa Bay, don't shy away from guys like a Rosarena. But Josh Lowe leading off, Wander Franco, those guys are both going to look pretty good. You have a cheap Luke Raley batting cleanup. So even with a modest 4.1 implied run total, I think they're interesting in tournaments just because of the upside and the leverage you get against Ober. I mentioned, Cincinnati being playable because they're only 5% owned. Tampa Bay is only 5% owned as well. And I think pretty clearly if you're going to go to one of those 2 offenses, I would rather get to the Tampa Bay side first. As far as Minnesota goes, very similar top stack percentage to Tampa Bay. They are getting a little bit more ownership, a little bit more favorably priced across the board. So as a value stack, I think they're okay, but not really a spot that I want to target them. Sub 4 implied run total. They're in Tampa, which is, a difficult park to hit in. Chirinos, in a limited sample this year, about a 180 to 190 expected ISO to both sides of the plate. If you go back to the start of 2021, 166 to righties, 178 to lefties. Not a huge sample size for any of that, but the pricing on Minnesota is appealing. The matchup in the park isn't great.
All right. And how would you rank the four sides of that game?
Ober, Tampa, Chirinos, Minnesota.
Okay. All right.
I guess to kind of follow up too, because I mentioned that Chirinos is showing up a lot more than the 7% projection in my crunches. The 7% ownership projection does still include the Arizona game too. So it probably just signals that Chirinos became a much more interesting play since you lost Merrill Kelly.
I just want to point out that Jordan Klein is in chat saying, whose smoke alarm is that? And I see Jordan's chair. I'm looking at Jordan in StreamYard right now. I can see his desk chair. So I have no idea where you are, Jordan. I've been waiting for you to come back, and I didn't realize that you're actually here. Logan Grew, yes, we know that the beeping is annoying. Nothing we can do about it right now.
Believe me, it is much more annoying for me than it is for you.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty loud right where Adam is. And he's also now in a different room. He closed the door. He did all that we could before we got started on this slate. Adam, would it be helpful for me to do a read right now, or will you be more prepared in like 5 minutes or whenever after the next game?
More prepared for what?
Would you prefer that I do a read right now, or would you prefer that I wait till?
Whenever. It's all a shit show for me at this point. It doesn't matter.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go through one more game then before I do the read. Looks like we just got the Milwaukee lineup as well. All right. Next up, sorry, did you rank the four? Yes, you did. Okay. The next game is your Orioles at the Brewers. Kyle Bradish on the mound for the Orioles. Colin Rea for the Brewers. Any interest in these pitchers?
Rea is showing up a bit for me simply because it's a 4-game slate and you have to roster pitchers. 6,400 is at least a cheap price tag, but not a great matchup against Baltimore. They are still missing Mullins, which is nice. Aaron Hicks apparently just needed to leave the Yankees to be able to hit again. But no real confidence in Rea. It's simply just he's cheap and I need a second pitcher play. Wouldn't be interested on FanDuel very often, but DraftKings, he looks okay. He has been better than I expected this year. Only a 166 expected ISO to lefties, 154 to righties, about a 20% K percentage to both sides. But, again, it's just kind of an emergency play. It's not something I really want, but we had him projected for 14% ownership before the Washington game got postponed. He's now showing up in my crunch 20 to 25% of the time, which is probably pretty reflective of where he'll likely end up or where he should be owned. So, I don't feel good about it, but you can still get there. Same goes for Kyle Bradish. He's actually showing up the second most for me in my crunch now. You do have a lot of strikeouts in the Milwaukee lineup. Bradish is not bad, and he's only $6,700. More talented than Rea, most likely. Similar strikeout percentages so far: 20.5% for Rea, 20% for Bradish, 4.39 xFIP for Bradish, 4.28 for Rea. So pretty similar overall. And I think at their prices, they both are pretty solid SP2 options.
Okay. Adam, I don't know if you saw it, but Jordan did show up briefly, and man, I was tempted because I have the power right now to add him to the stream. Usually he's a producer. We can ask him, but we can't add him. I had the power to add him to the stream. I held back. It was the first time I've ever seen Jordan Klein not totally put together. He looked a little bit unkempt, wearing a t-shirt, hair a little bit messy. So I decided not to do it. I thought it'd be too cruel to Jordan to catch him off guard like that. But man, I was tempted to force Jordan into the stream. All right. What is your level of interest in Orioles or Brewers bats?
Middle of the road. It's tough on this slate because while it is only a 4-gamer, you do have the Dodgers in a good spot in Cincy. You have the Giants in a great spot in Colorado. Colorado, obviously, in Colorado as well. Not as good as the Giants, but when you have the Giants and the Dodgers, clearly at the top, it makes everything else sort of secondary. But you do still have about a 4.3 implied run total on both of these teams. Neither pitcher is great. Neither pitcher is bad. Baltimore's pulling about 12% ownership with a 9% chance of being the top stack prior to postponement. Milwaukee, 6% chance of being the top stack, 6.5% ownership. So I think that they're both decent. I think it's more likely I use them as secondary stacks. Individually, Adam Frazier is going to look like a good value at second base. Aaron Hicks, if he's batting fifth, is going to look like a good value at 2,900 as well. Yeah,
apparently the DraftKings has still not done anything to notify people that game is not happening, which honestly, good for us if they don't let casual players. Yeah, exactly. So hopefully they will get some ownership. If you're watching the show, you have a leg up on people who don't know that game is postponed. So yeah,
if you use the lineup generator, you don't have to worry about it.
That's true. Also, good call there. Which we will talk about the lineup generator. I guess I was about to do. I'll do the Sorare read first. That was such a good segue that I almost feel but I don't even have lineup generator pulled out. So
first time I've ever done that.
Yeah, that was such a great segue. I was tempted to use it, but I don't even have it pulled up yet. I only have So Rare pulled up. I also have to ask you first, how would you rank the four sides of this Baltimore-Milwaukee game?
I think this is the toughest one we've done so far. They're all like the same play where you don't love either of the pitchers, you don't love either offense, but they're all good enough or cheap enough or both that they're fine. I guess I would say Bradish, Rhea, Baltimore, Milwaukee.
Mike Demopoulos asked, what game is canceled? It is the Arizona-Washington game has been postponed. So you can X that game out of your player pool.
Oh, yeah, good. Messed up my segue. Alvin's right. Lineup generator still main slate only.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well, shoot. Then I guess it's good that I don't have it prepped anyway. So we can just go straight to talking about our sponsor a little bit. So Rare. And we'll take a look at what I have. And it's hopefully you can see it now. My lineup doing not so hot so far, but we've only had one game in Coors, maybe two, I guess. I guess the Coors bats have had 2 games. They've been fine, nothing special. Still waiting on starts from Zach Wheeler and Spencer Strider. So, hopeful that I can get into the cash here. But if you are interested in playing So Rare, you don't have to play these limited contests. This is, of course, what I choose to play. I find it to be very fun. And the limited contests, part of what I like about it is I can just go out and get any card that I want. Like you have to pay for it, obviously, or win it in a contest. But it is easy to make lineups how you want to make them. The common contest, if you prefer, it's kind of a different structure. And in a way, it could be more fun if you play it right. But when you sign up at So Rare, you're going to be given the option of several different common cards and a salary cap. So you have to choose which cards you want within the salary cap on So Rare when you sign up. Those are free cards, and then you can enter them into the common contest to win real money, prizes that are worth real money. You can win the limited cards that I've been playing with in those common contests. And if I had realized how important it was when you sign up to pick good cards, I probably would have spent more time on it. I'd probably be playing those common contests a lot more than I have been. But if you haven't yet signed up for So Rare, highly recommend doing so. And just, make sure that you do put a little bit of thought into which common cards you want, because you're stuck with them. I mean, you can swap out one card every day. You can also win common cards in contests, but for the most part, like the easiest way to get cards is when you sign up, you're going to get some for free. You can then enter those into the common contest. It really is a lot of fun. Check it out if you haven't already. I put the link into chat. It's also in the description of this video. So if you haven't yet checked out So Rare, make sure you do so. Really fun way to play some fantasy baseball. All right, Adam, we've got one more game to get through. Guys, if you have any questions for us, we do have time. We'll have plenty of time for questions. But one more game to get through first, which is the Coors game. We've got San Francisco at Colorado. Alex Cobb on the mound for the Giants. Chase Anderson for the Rockies. Any interest in these pitchers, Adam?
Not a ton. Alex Cobb is somewhat interesting, especially since you lost Merrill Kelly. He's only 7,500 on DraftKings. Obviously, this is about as bad a park downgrade as you can get, going from playing your home games in San Francisco to playing in Colorado. But the Rockies do still suck. And we did just talk about, guys like Yanni Chirinos and Colin Rea and Kyle Bradish showing up as strong pitching options, strong SP2 options behind Kershaw. So I don't really think Cobb is any worse. Bailey Ober, I guess people are going to feel better about because he's not in Coors, but he's facing the Rays. So it kind of evens out. So I do think Cobb 7,500 is a decent play. He is a good pitcher. He does typically limit damage. He gets strikeouts. So I don't mind getting to some Cobb. I think Anderson is the worst pitching play on the slate.
All right. Yeah, tough spot, obviously, in Coors. How much interest?
Good offense and tough spot. And I mean, Ashcraft is in a hitter's park facing a tough team too, but I think Ashcraft is better than Anderson, and the park isn't as bad.
All right. I'm assuming you're going to have some interest in these bats and Coors on a 4-game slate.
Yeah, without a doubt. Giants clearly showing up at the top. They had a 30% chance of being the top stack before the postponement. We haven't gotten that updated yet, but it's just going to go up. So that's going to look good. They were pulling 21% ownership. That probably goes up now as well. They were extremely disappointing last night. I believe Connor Siebold was no-hitting them for at least 4 or 5 innings. But onto a new day, another good matchup against Chase Anderson and a weak Rockies team. So the Giants are going to look great. They're also still not particularly expensive. They have gotten more expensive, but you're still talking mostly price tags in the 4 to 5K range. Thairo Estrada still the only guy projected to start for the Giants who costs more than $5,000. So they certainly look great. The Rockies are a lower probability spot, but still coming in third in top stack percentage, going a little bit under owned. Not a good matchup against Cobb, but you are still playing in Coors Field, and that obviously makes you look better.
Sure. How would you rank the 4 sides of the game?
Giants 1, Cobb 2, Rockies 3, Rockies relievers 4, and Chase Anderson 5.
Okay. All right. So we made it through all 4 games. Adam, if you're going to play 3 different stacks in a 3 max contest, which stacks would you go to?
Probably San Francisco, Dodgers, and then I think the Rockies, the Orioles, and the Brewers are all pretty close. I don't hate the idea of Tampa Bay, though. I like them as a contrarian stack.
Okay. All right. 3 favorite pitchers.
Kershaw by an absolute mile. Bradish and Ober.
Okay. Do you have a home run pick for this early slate?
I will. Somebody from the Dodgers. I'll take Freeman.
So much better when I have access to the top hitters tool, but we don't have that for this particular slate. So let me
I assume Max Muncy's 41%.
Wait, who did you pick?
I took Freeman.
All right, well then, yeah, I'll just go to Muncy. That's an easy one.
I left you Muncy since you take it every day.
Thank you. I do take Muncy every day. I have no idea. I haven't been paying attention to whether he's actually hit any home runs when I've been taking him, but I'm going to keep taking him because I think you're right. He probably would be 41% or whatever it would be. We did have our Apple guy, Chris Williams, asked us if we could go through the afternoon slate really quickly. So that's just 2 games. We have for the night slate, for the, I guess, the main slate, we have Live Before Lock and Deeper Dive, I believe, later. But we don't have any shows covering that afternoon slate. So I'd be fine doing that. Are you think we can go through that afternoon slate real quick? All right. Well then let's do that. And I'm going to pull up. I'll pull up the top stacks tool, top pitchers tool as well.
I just figure out who the hell Tyler Holton is.
I don't know who that is.
Guy pitching for the Tigers, apparently.
Okay. Oh, Tyler Holton. Okay. All right. So looking at the top stacks tool to start, I guess I'll leave this up while I ask you. We can go game by game like we usually do. So let me pull that up real quick. All right. So we only have 2 games on the slate. It's the White Sox at the Yankees, the Tigers at the Phillies. Starting with the White Sox and the Yankees, we've got Lance Lynn on the mound for the White Sox, Luis Severino for the Yankees. How much interest do you have in these pitchers for this 2-game slate?
Yeah, definitely interested in both. The way the slate looks is essentially you have 3 quality pitchers in Wheeler, Severino, Lynn, and then you have a reliever starting for Detroit that looks terrible. So all 3 of the other guys should be popular, should be getting ownership. Severino, $7,200, decent matchup against the White Sox. 3.7 implied run total, good strikeout stuff. Got hit hard last time out by the Dodgers, but this isn't the Dodgers. So certainly like Severino a lot. I think he is the second best pitching option on the slate. Lynn would be third. It is nice for Lynn that 1, Aaron Judge won't be playing, and 2, most of the dangerous bats in the Yankees lineup are right-handed. Lynn typically is much better against righties than lefties, both in terms of strikeouts and limiting power. That has also been the case this season. So it does set up really well individually for Anthony Rizzo. I think he's a great one-off. Willie Calhoun and Jacob Bowers are both cheap as well from the left side in Yankee Stadium. But Torres, Stanton, Donaldson, Volpe, all right-handed. Not to say that if you're stacking the Yankees, you should be skipping those guys, but it does at least set up favorably for Lynn in that regard.
Steven Lou was asking, do we know the Yankees game is happening? I mean, the answer is no. We don't know for sure, but I think it probably is. It looks like the air is maybe improved a little bit at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's supposed to be better in New York today. I think Philly might still be an issue too, which is the other game on the slate.
Right. So this slate might not even happen. We might have 0 games, or even if there's 1, then obviously the main slate is going to be canceled. So keep your eye out for that. What's your level of interest in Yankees or White Sox bats, Adam?
On a normal slate, it wouldn't be very high. On this slate, it is. I think the Yankees look a little bit better. Like I said, Lynn is good at limiting right-handed power, but you do still have plenty of it in the Yankees lineup. Anthony Rizzo, as I mentioned, I really like individually, but getting to Torres, Stanton, Donaldson, all that stuff's fine. The White Sox lineup, not as strong, and Severino is still a good pitcher, but certainly not a problem getting to the White Sox either. I sort of think this is the offenses on this slate are kind of like the pitching. You have 3 quality ones, and then you have the Tigers.
Okay. How would you rank the 4 sides of this White Sox-Yankees game?
Severino, Lynn, Yankees, White Sox.
Mark Davis says, I like the beeping. It adds ambiance. I like that. And somebody said that he was Brad Wright said, I legit was walking through my house thinking I needed to change my smoke alarm. Yeah, it's
Nope, not you.
Yeah, it's not you. All right. The second game on this 2-game slate, we've got Detroit at Philadelphia. Tyler Holton on the mound for the Tigers. Zach Wheeler for the Phillies. What's your level of interest in these pitchers?
Definitely very interested in Wheeler. Looks like the number one pitcher on the slate by a lot. 2.8 implied run total for the Tigers. We know it's a really, really good matchup. Wheeler is a very good pitcher. He's the best pitcher on the slate in terms of talent. So yeah, just looks great for him. Not interested in Holton. He's made 17 appearances this year, all out of the bullpen. So not expecting him to go deep. Hasn't been striking guys out even as a reliever, only an 18.9% K percentage. So outside of, screw it, it's a 2-game slate. I don't have any sort of case to make for Holton.
All right. And bats in this game.
Yeah, Phillies look good. I said it before. I think Holton is by default the weakest pitcher on this slate. Left-handed, so don't shy away from Schwarber and Harper. Obviously, they're still really good, but sets up nicely for Nick Castellanos. Looks good for Turner, Real Muto. Drew Ellis is still essentially minimum salary. So Phillies look really good. I think they are the top stack on the slate.
All right. How would you rank the 4 sides of the game?
Wheeler, Phillies, Tigers, Holton.
All right. So I think that if I ask you for your favorite 3, you're just going to leave out the Tigers and Tyler Holton. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
How about top 2 for top 2 stacks?
Phillies and Yankees.
Top 2 pitchers.
Wheeler and Severino.
Do you have a home run pick from this 2-gamer?
Rizzo.
All right. I will go to Harper.
Castellanos is the best pick, but I already said Rizzo like 3 times, so I just stuck with him.
All right. I like that. Just go with what we have been going with. We also got a question here about cash games for this. I assume he's talking about the afternoon slate, the regular 4-gamer. Any players stand out to you as you think would probably be in your cash game lineup if you were playing cash here?
Kershaw 100%. Like with certainty, Kershaw would be in there.
Okay.
Other than that, I mean, it's tough to say without having built a lineup, but I think you're looking at Dodgers and Giants bats. You're just getting all the Dodgers and Giants bats you can, and then filling out whatever's left. But with the way pricing is, I think that you're probably just getting 5 Giants and then a couple of Dodgers.
Yeah, I'm running with no randomness on. I'm just running 100 crunches to see what shows up in my lineups the most, because it's a pretty good indicator of how players do as far as projection and point per dollar. I'm getting to 100% Kershaw in my top 100, and this is just based on projection. 97% Thairo Estrada as well. 90%. Oh, so I still have Merrill Kelly. So I need to refresh my fantasy cruncher. That might actually affect things a little bit, but I'm getting exactly what you'd expect. Kershaw, a bunch of Giants players, and then Willie Castro is actually. I'm getting to a good amount of Willie Castro, Twins outfielder, batting leadoff here. All right, let me refresh, though, to get this game out of here.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. It just opens up everything else.
Right. I'm wondering if that would change if I get rid of Merrill Kelly, because we don't have I assume Merrill Kelly's kind of expensive.
Right, you're going to be paying down a pitcher more.
Right, so maybe it won't happen quite as much. Let's see here. See how this changes things. Yeah, so if I take that game out, I'm getting to slightly less Willie Castro, but he's still one of my highest owned players. Now I'm getting to a ton of Freddie Freeman. That's interesting. So now I'm getting to Kershaw, Thairo Estrada, Freddie Freeman as my top 3 owned players with no randomness on. So those are actually Willie Castro did jump right ahead of Freddie Freeman at the end. So those 4 I think I would say I'd get into my lineup if I were playing cash. Kershaw, Thairo Estrada, Willie Castro, Freddie Freeman look like solid cash game plays here. All right. Going to go back to usual screen. Anybody else have any other questions? I think that we've answered all of the questions that I saw here. I want to make sure that we have not missed any. We can close up a little bit early. It is just a 4-game slate. We obviously started late too, so I don't want to end too early, but I don't see any real harm in doing so. We can look at lineup generator. Elvin is correct that it is only going to work for the night slate. For the main slate, it works for the main slate only right now. Still a fantastic tool. Adam, I used the lineup generator last night and made some really good lineups, except for my nephew is back pitching on his varsity game last night, so I had to leave like before lock and didn't update anything. So I used lineup generator before it had updated lineups. I got to 15% Jake Fraley, and he happened to be in all of my best lineups. So that was really unfortunate. Lineups that looked like they could have been pretty good.
Yeah, he was in too, and then he got scratched.
Oh, was he? Oh, maybe that was the issue. Okay, yeah. So and he came in, pinch runner, scored a run, so he did get me 2 fantasy points. So better than nothing, I guess. I was hoping I could
Shrek
route
of just playing guys that aren't starting.
I was trying to take that Shrek route. Put the fork down. Asked, is Bradish in play? Yep. We went over that game already, but yeah, in play for sure. Oh yeah, Wilbert asked, favorite stack on FanDuel for this afternoon's slate. Does it change for you at all?
No, still the Giants.
All right. How about favorite pitcher on FanDuel?
Still Kershaw. Even more so Kershaw.
Okay. Oh yeah, I gotta do FanDuel early. Yeah, we don't have Merrill Kelly either, so there's kind of a gap there between Kershaw. Bailey Ober looks like he's number 2. Definitely feel more comfortable with Kershaw against Cincinnati than Bailey Ober against Tampa Bay. So yeah.
I mean, the only way that it would change, like the ownership gap is worth paying attention to. Right now we have Kershaw at 36%, Ober at 7%. That's with Kelly projected for 13%. But yeah, I mean, I think Kershaw is just so clearly the top play.
Yeah, Kershaw looks good. We can pull up lineup generator. My only hesitation is I'm also going to be doing a lineup generator VOD later, but we can look at it twice. I can pull it up again. Just delete the lineups I've created. So let's take a brief look at lineup generator. Of course, this is not going to be for the slate that we're talking about here. This is for the main slate only, but we can take a look anyway at what's going to come up. I'm going to do DraftKings, all stack types. We've been doing balance builds. I think they've been working out pretty well. That's right. We've got the Spencer Strider slate here. 61% projected ownership for Strider, 51% Reed Detmers. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's a short slate on the main one. Let me take a look at how short it is exactly. So we've got a 4-gamer here. Yeah, you're not going to get any lineups that are like super contrarian here if you're stacking. So this one, 246% projected ownership. But again, every lineup that is made in lineup generator is going to be a plus EV lineup. These have already been run through the sims. You're not going to get any of the crap lineups. You're only going to get the good ones. You should check it out if you haven't already. It's 50% off your first week. So it's going to be just $4.48 for your first week if you use the link that I am about to put into chat. All right, I just put the link for lineup generator into chat. Again, if you haven't checked it out, it's $4.48 for your first week, 50% off if you use the link that I just put there. And then it's only going to be $9 per week after that. So still pretty cheap for a tool that is giving you only plus EV lineups. What I've been doing, Adam, I've actually been using this all week. I go through and I generally go through and I just save lineups to start, see what I get. And then I go back and say, all right, is there anything that I want to change? So in this case, I don't know if I want 100% Reed Detmers. I'm probably okay with 100% Spencer Strider. I mean, it's kind of tough because he's playing against the Mets, but he's Spencer Strider on a 4-game slate. I probably would be fine with that, but I might go back and delete some of these lineups so that I can go back and get some other lineups that don't have Reed Detmers in them. I wonder if I have to go to different lineup types to do that. One thing that I have not actually tested, Adam, and I'm not sure if it is possible to do, is to like use some lineups that are balanced, and then after creating balanced lineups, go back and change.
I mean, you definitely can. I don't know if you can like on the site, but like make balanced lineups, export the ones you want, and then do it again.
Right. Yeah. I guess I meant like within the same build.
Right.
But I'm curious if I can do that. So I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to go all stack types, and now I'm going to go contrarian. See if it adds to the lineups I already have. But yeah, that's a good point. You can always go back and just do multiple crunches of different types if you want to. All right, so it looks like it could. So I was able to just add those contrarian lineups to my build, got rid of some of those Reed Detmers lineups, brought down the ownership at pitching. Kind of interesting there. So now I'm getting to some other pitchers here, getting to Framber Valdez in some lineups, Jose Barrios, bringing down the ownership, Aaron Civale. Probably more comfortable with Detmers than a lot of these pitchers, but at least you can see different ways to do it. So yeah, it's kind of cool to see that you can actually make different types of lineups within the same lineup set. I was unsure about that. Oh, I clicked in the wrong spot. I meant to click back into our tab. All right, let me see. Anybody have any other questions? Is Ellie De La Cruz going to hit a homer today off Kershaw? What do you think?
No. Also, speaking of De La Cruz, so I went back and remade lineups with allowing a hitter against your pitcher. He still didn't show up a lot for me.
Oh, really? Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a tough matchup. What's his price tag up to today?
2,900.
Just moving it up quite slowly. Yeah. I mean,
With
it's probably fine in this particular matchup with Kershaw. Like,
yeah, it's not a big deal in this one spot, but
right.
Also, like somebody that talented should probably just never be this cheap.
Yeah. Ocean says fire alarm is going off due to the fire content. Yeah, exactly. That's what's going on. It's the fire content.
Not a coincidence that it started as soon as the show was about to start.
Yeah, exactly. That was good timing. I am a little bit curious if it is like, could the smoke outside be so strong? I don't think that it could be so strong. It sounds like the battery being out.
Yeah, it sounds like
the actual
alarm.
Like if it were the alarm, it would be.
Yeah, I mean, if it thinks that there's an actual fire, it's not doing a very good job with the urgency.
Yeah, I started saying it, and then I realized that's a really dumb thing to say because it would not sound like this if there was a fire. It would be.
I had the same thought, and I was just like, yeah, if this is what it does to tell me there's a fire, I am
right. Sleeping through it. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and it sounds like that's exactly what all my fire alarm. I know this chirping sound all too well because every fucking fire alarm I've ever had, just like, oh my god, this is driving me crazy. And my like, I hate it. My dog just like hates it. Like he just starts shaking like uncontrollably.
That's how my parents' dogs are. I'm definitely glad I don't have one.
Yeah.
I mean, for the at the moment.
For this particular reason. Yeah. Right. Thank you, Arnold. Great show given initial problems, he says. I was gonna call Josh in. I saw Josh was in chat. I was like, I don't know if Adam's not gonna be able to make the show, should we call Josh in for this show?
Yeah, once I got everything set back up, and I was like, I should have just messaged Josh. I know he is awake and has nothing to do.
I think he'd be capable of doing a show completely unprepared the way that you are.
I mean, it wouldn't be as good, but
obviously not as good. Wonder if Josh is still watching. All right, if nobody else has any other questions, we're gonna finish early. Maybe we'll try and make it to 11:25 or so, real America time. But give you guys some time to ask questions if you have them. But if you don't,
thank you, Jake, for clarifying that it means the batteries are dead.
Yeah. Yep. We got that. So you're gonna have to like call somebody to get that, or like go out and buy a ladder. You have somebody you can call in your apartment.
I just have to tell maintenance, but it means I also need to clean up my apartment because it looks like it got hit by a tornado.
I know that feeling. So you're gonna wait to clean before you call maintenance?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just probably like hide shit in my room and then call maintenance.
Josh says, would have been a much better show. You can tell this is an Adam show. It's finishing early. Ooh. Has Neil seen Adam's 21-year-old license picture? I have not. Is this something you shared?
I showed it to Josh and Laufey. Who said that?
That was Stephen Leibowitz.
How has he seen it?
I don't know. Stephen Leibowitz, how have you seen it? Are you tapped into Adam's computer or something? I don't know. Maybe it came up. I bet it came up on a Josh and Laufey show. They probably talked about it on a show.
Oh, probably. Yeah, no, it's I happened to see a picture of it like yesterday, and my eyes are just dead. Like I look like I probably just like killed like 4 hitchhikers on the way.
Have you watched the Hitchhiker Hero documentary? I forget what they call it.
No.
The Hatchet. There's some like Netflix documentary. I thought about watching it, but haven't. Not my kind of true crime. No, it actually is totally my kind of true crime. What am I talking about?
But any serial killer type stuff I have probably watched or played.
But he wasn't a serial killer. I think he just like killed some old dude, and then I don't know. Didn't seem like an interesting enough story, so I didn't get into it. What was I going to say? Oh, I have to read this off. Mark Davis says lineup generator is amazing. I have quadrupled my money. That is awesome to hear, Mark. Yeah, I honestly, it has turned around. My MLB DFS was not. It was going okay so far this year, but like I've been like pretty damn close to the top of contest since I've been using it. So I don't know what I needed to change, but I needed to change something in my process. And what I did is use lineup generator. It has helped me. I've been doing fairly well. Still haven't like hit that top spot, but I've been, in contention several times using lineup generator. So check it out if you haven't already. I put the link into chat already. So feel free to click that for 50% off if you haven't checked it out. Humboldt says, they said you looked like a school shooter. You think that's an accurate description of your 21-year-old license picture?
Yeah, my first thought when I saw it was that I looked like the Sandy Hook guy, and I sent it to Lofty and Josh, and I didn't say that. And Lofty's immediate response was, "You look like Adam Landa."
I kind of want to see this picture. That sounds...
Yeah, I'll send it to you after the show.
You're not going to show it on the show? You're not going to put it up on screen for everybody?
I don't know how to do that.
All right. I mean, it's like this, Adam. You put it up to the camera. That's what I was saying. But
yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, I guess I have it saved.
All right. All right. Well, we've made it to 11:25. We have 10 more minutes before the first game locks of this 4-game slate. I think that okay. Josh just shared it with me. I'm not going to put it up on screen without Adam's permission. But,
no, you can go ahead. I was trying to find it on my phone.
Okay. All right. I'm going to let's see. I'm going to pull this up onto screen if I can figure out the best way to do so. Hang on. 1 second, guys. I'm having.
It was the day after I turned 21, so I'm assuming I was hungover, and that explains the eyes. But I also don't think I went out on my actual 21st birthday. I think I went out the weekend after, so I don't have an excuse if that's the case.
All right, hang on. Let me see if I can share my. I'm so hesitant to share my Slack, which is where I have the picture, but right. I think that if I just share it with the that picture up, I'm going to be fine. So 1 second. Wait, present. A stop screen. All right, 1 second. I'm going to show you Adam's 21st birthday picture. All right. Can you see it now? Wait, no.
I think you have to add it to the stream.
Yep. All right, there you have it. Adam Scherer / Landa, 21 years old. You also look quite young. Which I guess, like, as I told you, I've been to 2 high school baseball games in the past week, and it shocks me how young high school kids look. Like, I forget how young, like, teenagers are. So maybe that's just what a 21-year-old looks like in my mind. You look like an adult at 21, but yeah, you look pretty young there.
Yeah, no, I went to my high school had like a big playoff baseball game a month or so ago, and I went with a couple of guys that I had played with, and that was like my takeaway too. Was like I didn't realize how young these guys look.
Yeah, they look like babies. Just reading some comments. David Henry says, looks like a drunk Austin Reeves. I can kind of see that, actually. A little bit like Austin Reeves there. He looks like a breakdancing prodigy, Sunflower says. Yeah, I like that as well. Is that the professor? I don't think that's the professor. I think I can safely say you do not look like a professor there. Steven says, there is no doubt someone died the night before. A more gangster version of McLovin. I like that. Ace of Spade. Yeah, it's a good picture there. All right. Good break to look at Adam's picture. I'll take it off the screen. I think you've been sufficiently roasted for your 21-year-old license picture. Man, if I showed you some pictures of me as a kid, you wouldn't believe it's me. Like, I look so different than I did. Like, you kind of look the same as you did at 21, just an older version of yourself. I look like a completely different person. So maybe I'll have to show that at some point as well. Yeah, Steven says, now we need beardless Neil. Yeah, I'll find some picture and put it on screen at some point. Obviously not today because I don't have it available here. All right, I think that, oh no, Elliot says John Rocker, the racist Subway guy. New York Subway, not Subway sandwiches guy.
Yeah.
That's a whole different bad guy.
Has their own issues.
I also watched that whole documentary. Have you seen the trailer from Subway? No. It was shocking to me how long he got away with it, given how brazen he was about just like talking about the show starts with he met this woman, he was doing an interview with her, and he within an hour of meeting her was like he said like middle school girls are so hot or something like that. He like whispered it in her ear, and I'm like, this is the first thing, like, you met him and this is what, like, this guy clearly like wanted to be caught. Like, right. I don't understand.
Yeah,
that's so bizarre, but you should check out that documentary if you haven't already. All right, that's going to be the end of it. Adam, do you have any final thoughts for people?
Nope.
Perfect. All right, guys. Thank you very much for sticking with us. If you have not hit that like button, please do so. Helps us out a lot if you do. And we will get rid of this beeping sound, and hopefully we'll catch you later on.
Must be nice.
Yeah, it is great living in a beeping-less world. All right, that is going to do it for the show. Thank you guys very much for hanging out with us.